Hello and welcome back to the second part of the arrogant ship from Amati. In this part we will start to plank the subfloor or the lower deck with the included, I'm not really sure, but I think it's walnut. It's a dark wood and really nice because it's only 3 mm in width, so that fits very good in the scale of a 155 scale model. So the instruction said that you have two options. Basically you have all the options in the world because it's your model, and as long as you like it you can build it as however you like it or however you want it. The instruction said you can put the full strip step beside on the decks and also on the sidings, or you can make shorter strips and put it in a brick style or 3 butt shift or 4 butt shift, whatever you want to do with it. I decided to make 3.5 cm strips. That's more or less 6 foot or 2 meter length board, a long board, and I think that fits the best to the scale. Let's start with it. Okay, so the instruction also said that we have to plank first this wall and then going over the deck. That's because if you put 4 of these 3 mm planks on it, it fits perfectly the height of this backbone or whatever you call the center beam or whatever, or fold scale. That's the perfect height. So first the sidings and then the lower deck. I also will not plank the whole structure because the front and the back section we will not see anymore. Only this part up to here is visible, so you can save some strips for a future project. Okay, in the same method we have done now the sidings planking. Both sides I sanded it a little bit. We will also now plank the lower deck or the sub deck or whatever you want to call it in the same method. And when it's finished I will come back to you. Okay, so one side down, one more to go. And if you look closely, I don't know how good the camera will pick up this, there's a little, let's say 1 mm free gap on the edge. It really doesn't matter because if you look on the back side we have the same, that the ribs are a little bit shorter than the deck, so we have to sand this before we start planking the hull. So this little gap really doesn't matter. Okay, so both sides are finished planking and now we have to sand them flush. And for this we use 80 grit sandpaper. Don't be afraid to use it because these are hardwood planks and not the ordinary softwood or boxwood planks what you find in other kits. So first 80 grit sandpaper, then we put some sanding sealer, and after this I come back. So after sanding we use an old toothbrush. Do not use your daily toothbrush, use an old toothbrush and clean all the sanding dust between the planks. So after we have cleaned up all this, I will pop up the joints between the planks, and for that reason I'm using this wash, a little bit about wash. If the wash is dry, we have to remove the excess of this wash, because that's not the filter, that's a wash, and the rest, the excess, has to be removed. And I'm using this AK because it's not too dark. I think that will fit perfectly to the wood. So after drying, we have to remove the excess with a paper towel. Okay, clearly can see that now the joints are popping out, even though I haven't darkened the wood. That's the whole purpose, to put on the wash on the wood. So next step, before we continue anything, I decided to sand down the edges of the deck so that I got the form of the final shape of the lower deck, because we need this, you will see in a minute. So for the stanchions, the instruction said you need a 4x4 hardwood strip, and be careful, in the kit are two kinds of wood. This looks like maybe walnut, but it's the hardwood, so that's the longer strip, and the walnut strip 4x4 millimeters is in this separate bag together with this copper strips. What I said before was brass, but that's copper, and here are the special cuts. So for the stanchions we use this 4x4 hardwood strip. Okay, so installing the stanchions, easier said than be done, because as you can see, this, all the stanchions are in an angle going out. There are two ways to do this. The first way is you put them on like I have done, or first you put the upper deck on and fit this in between them, because the bow and the stern section are raising up in a slight angle, so that's not so easy to be done. Based now on experience what I got from the first side, the second side I will do different. I already grind all the stanchions in a slight angle, and then I put a drill in the stanchion, cut off the head of a nail, of a brass nail, and also make a hole in the lower deck. So that is more secure than only glue it on the deck, because you also have to look that all the stanchions are a little bit outside of the edge of the lower deck, because that we have to form, we have to follow the line of the ribs. So we need a little bit of material exceeding the edge, so that we can sand it in a slightly curve. Okay, so we already sanded now the height of each stanchion, and it was very easy. Just put a steel ruler on the top of the center beam and then sand it down until it's flush and even. Except the bow and the stern portion, they have to be in a slight curve, but you can figure that out. That's not very complicated. So next thing, you see already I made already many holes. That's for the foot banks or footrests or whatever you want to call it. The only important thing is the distance between these holes is 16 millimeters, and it has to be a right angle compared to the center beam. So very easy stuff. The rest I show you in the following video. Okay, you can see that I've installed now all the foot banks or footrests. They are all straight and aligned and at the same level, as you can see. I will finish up this part with these pictures. In the upcoming part 3, we will install the upper deck, plank the upper deck, and also will start planking the hull. So stay tuned for that.